Today I'll talk about post-exposure prophylaxis. Post-exposure prophylaxis is the prophylaxis after exposure. It can be done to prevent HIV after exposure to potentially infectious material, or it can be done for prevention of rabies after exposure to the suspected animal or human being. The term post-exposure prophylaxis is generally understood to mean the medical response given to prevent the transmission of blood-borne pathogen following a potential exposure to HIV. My talk will be restricted to post-exposure prophylaxis for HIV. And post-exposure prophylaxis includes first aid after exposure, counseling of individual for assessment of risk of exposure to infection, HIV testing, and depending on the outcome of the exposure assessment, the prescription of a 28-day course of antiretroviral drug with appropriate support and follow-up. There are certain legal and human rights issues. We should use non-discrimination policy. The information should be kept confidential and informed consent should be obtained. What are the eligibility criteria for post-exposure prophylaxis for HIV? Post-exposure prophylaxis should be provided following exposure of non-intact skin through percutaneous sharp injury or skin abrasions, or following exposure of mucous membrane through sexual exposure or splash to the eyes, nose, or oral cavity, or following exposure of intact skin when duration of contact is prolonged, that is several minutes or more, to a potentially infected body fluid from a source that is HIV positive or has unknown HIV status. Body fluids that may transmit HIV include blood, genital secretions, cerebrospinal fluid, amniotic fluid, peritoneal fluid, or pleural fluid. Fluids which are considered not as risk include tears, sweat, urine, feces, and saliva, unless these are contaminated with visible blood. So what is the timing for initiating post-exposure prophylaxis? When there is a risk of HIV transmission, PEP should be initiated as soon as possible within 72 hours and not later than 72 hours. Post-exposure prophylaxis is not indicated if the exposed person is HIV positive from previous exposure, or if there is chronic exposure, or if the exposure does not pose a risk of transmission, that is after exposure of intact skin, after sexual intercourse using a condom, or any exposure to non-infectious body fluid, and exposure to body fluid from a person known to be HIV negative. And it is also not indicated if the exposure occurred more than 72 hours previously. So what are the basic steps? So basic steps is first establish the eligibility for post-exposure prophylaxis, counsel the exposed person and obtain informed consent, prescribe and dispense PEP, conduct laboratory evaluation, ensure record keeping, and providing follow-up and support to the person. These are the recommended two drug combination therapies. This is the preferred regime and this is alternate regime, and duration of therapy is 28 days. Laboratory tests which need to be performed include HIV testing, of course, after informed consent and after pre and post-test counseling according to protocols. Then additional laboratory tests for pregnancy testing, for hemoglobin, especially when treatment is given, and for hepatitis B and C screening should be done depending on the prevalence of disease in the community. In follow-up, we assess and manage side effects, and we assess and support adherence. This is the National AIDS Control Organization guidelines for post-exposure prophylaxis. Step 1 is manage exposure site. These are the various steps. Then establish eligibility for PEP, counsel for PEP, prescribe PEP, laboratory evaluation and follow-up, and monitor adherence. So this is all for today. Thank you very much.